Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, here is how to move to Italy, because I can see that we need to back the gradient down a little bit because there's a lot of data missing for you guys, and I want to make sure we fill it all in so you don't get lost and you don't get confused. So the first thing you need to do, as I mentioned in my previous video, is get your visa. You have to get your residency here. Now, if you're an Italian citizen or you hold an EU passport, it's way simpler for you, and a lot of this does not apply. However, if you're just planning to come over and retire here, buy a property and everything else, there are a few things that you need to understand. Number one, buying a property here does not automatically give you residency. There are many people who own properties here who can only come in 90 days at a time. So according to the Schengen rules, in the EU, you can be in an EU country for 90 days if you're not a citizen of any of the EU countries. You can be in the EU for 90 days and then you have to go out for another 90 days and then you can come back for 90 days. So you can have a total of 180 days in one of the EU countries if you're an American citizen and you have an American passport without a specific visa for the country of your choice. That's totally fine, but that's not ideal if you want to live here. If you want to live here, you have to make sure you can get residency. Now, I've talked to many people recently, and there's a lot of confusion on visas and whatnot. Yes, there are work visas. Yes, there are student visas. There are other specific visas for people under very specific sets of circumstances. And if you're interested in those, you should go look at them. However, the retirement visa, any other visa, is really the elective residence visa, and it all falls into the same basket. Now, in order to get an elective residence visa, you have to have passive income. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your 401k. It doesn't matter how many stocks or bonds or properties you own. What matters is passive income. So your holdings have to be structured in such a way that they show as income. For a single person, it's $31,000. That's the absolute minimum. However, I'm finding out from Nick Mehta that the consular agents in the specific consulates have a lot of leeway, and they can deny you thinking, well, it's just not enough. So there's no guarantee on that. Minimally, you have to have 31,000 euros per year in passive income for a single person. Now, if it's you and your partner, it's 38,000. You don't have to do 62,000. It's 38,000. And for each child, dependent child, it's another 20% on top of that. So you have to keep that in mind. It has to be passive incomes, things like retirement income, things like rental income, things that are expected to last pretty much indefinitely, so that they know that you're not going to become a burden on the system here in Italy. So that's what that's all about. Now, another very important thing is the visa process is kind of broken into two things. You got the elective residence visa, which you have to get in your home consulate in the United States or whatever country you're coming from. That has to be done there, and you can't come over here and do it. It's just not a thing. You can't do it at all. You have to go to your consulate in the US or whatever country you're in and get your elective residence visa. Once you get that, you can come over, and then you can request a permesso di soggiorno, which is something that you do in the comune, and then you can really start considering yourself a resident. And like I said in my previous video, if you're planning to move here, like sell your house, move over and buy another house with the funds from your previous house, you better make sure you got your residency absolutely nailed down before you do anything like that. Super important. So I'm putting a link in the details to Nick Mehta's blog post on the elective residence visa and the permesso di soggiorno so that you have all the data you need. Also, if you need help with residency, Nick is your guy. He's got packages and packages set up to cover any sort of instance that they've seen with their clients at all of the different consulates in the United States or wherever. So we highly recommend that, just in terms of ending frustration and bureaucracy. So I hope that helps, guys. It's so important, this residency thing, and I think a lot of people don't realize that you can't just move here. So it's vital that you get this thing done and then come over and then do your codice fiscale and then do the fun part of looking for your final retirement property that's going to be wonderful for the rest of your life. So there are options, there are workarounds and everything else, but you got to know what you're doing. See you soon, guys.